They called it the Vault of Gods. Buried beneath the red sands of planet Caraxes III, the ancient chamber had remained sealed for over 10,000 years, until the day the Unified Species Alliance unearthed it during a mining expedition. The vault's walls were etched with language older than the oldest alien empires. Inside, suspended in a glowing energy field, floated something no scientist or archaeologist could explain. The armor. It stood upright, sleek, jet black, engraved with shifting runes. Its surface shimmered as though aware of being watched. And no matter who tried to approach, it rejected them. The moment any alien, be it the insectoid Krell, the crystalline Firaxi, or even the psionic Drool, came within arm's reach, the field would flash and hurl them back violently. They tried everything. Force fields. Robotic probes. Genetic manipulation. Nothing worked. Some called it cursed. Others called it divine. And one word kept appearing on every translation effort, regardless of the language matrix. Human. That terrified the Alliance. Humans were extinct. Wiped out in the Galactic Reformation Wars over 500 years ago. Their homeworld, Earth, was a scorched ruin. But the armor, it still waited. Aboard a distant salvage freighter in the Outer Rim, Elias Rourke, a scrappy scavenger with Terran ancestry and a knack for finding trouble, watched the news feed from Caraxes with mild interest and a mouth full of protein gum. Humans only, huh? He muttered to himself. Guess they never met my grandma. His ship, the Lucky Break, was barely holding together, patched with different cultures' scrap metal, jury-rigged tech, and stubborn luck. But Elias was different from most drifters. He still carried stories of Earth, of courage, of defiance, and a strange scar on his palm, shaped like an ancient rune he'd never been able to identify. When the bounty came out, 100 million credits for any being who could activate the armor, he didn't hesitate. By the time he arrived at Caraxes III, the vault had been turned into a military research site guarded by elite Drool enforcers. Elias talked his way past the outer checkpoints, flashed a hacked ID, and swaggered into the chamber like he owned the place. Dozens of alien scientists looked up, startled. "Who let the dust rat in?" hissed one. "I'm here for the armor," Elias said, nodding toward it. "Might as well let a human take a shot, right?" "You are not human," said a Firaxi researcher coldly. "You are hybrid filth." Elias smirked. "Let's see what the armor thinks." Without waiting for permission, he walked toward the pedestal. The energy field began to hum, low and menacing. Aliens shouted warnings. He kept walking. The field surged. And then, it parted. Silence dropped like a hammer. Elias stood before the armor. Inches away. Then, with a deep breath, he reached out and touched it. The effect was instant. The armor surged with blinding light. The runes across its surface ignited, racing with energy like rivers of fire. The field vanished entirely, and the armor moved. It unfolded, opened, as if welcoming him. "By the stars," someone whispered. The armor wrapped around Elias piece by piece, not forced, but invited. Like it had waited lifetimes for this moment. When the helmet clicked shut, a pulse echoed through the galaxy. Ancient satellites hidden in black holes lit up. Vaults on dead worlds began to vibrate. Forgotten systems blinked online. And in Elias's mind, a voice spoke. User recognized. Terran genetic key accepted. "Welcome, Warden." He stumbled back, barely able to process the data flooding his senses. His vision sharpened, enhanced. His thoughts felt faster. And somewhere deep in the armor's core, a memory, no, a warning, unfolded. The war is not over. The enemy still waits. He turned to face the crowd of stunned researchers. What is this thing?" he asked. The armor answered. "It is not a suit. It is a weapon. And the war it was forged for is about to begin again." The moment Elias stepped out of the vault, the galaxy changed. Not metaphorically, literally. Across star systems, ancient sensors activated. Deep space relay stations, long dormant, blinked to life. Forbidden technologies stirred. And something, something enormous turned its gaze toward Caraxes III. Inside the armor, Elias could feel it. Like a distant thunderstorm echoing through his blood. The AI inside the suit, calm, calculating, began feeding him information at a terrifying pace. This is Warden-class Sentinel armor, designed for human cognitive bandwidth. Weapon system, unlocked. Threat detection, critical. What threat? Elias asked aloud. The armor responded. The Unnamed. No one in the present day knew what the Unnamed were. Most assumed it was a myth, a fabricated ancient war between humanity and something the records didn't even bother describing. But the truth was buried deep in the suit's memory banks. Thousands of years ago, before the fall of Earth, humans had built the armor to fight against an enemy that could not be reasoned with, bargained with, or defeated by conventional means. An entity, or force, that had consumed stars, erased planets, and infected minds across dimensions. The Unnamed weren't just a threat. They were the reason the armor existed. And now they were stirring again. Elias didn't have time to fully grasp what he'd just awakened. Back at the surface, panic erupted. The Drul guards demanded he remove the armor. The Firaxi scientists tried to restrain him with containment fields. The armor refused. Genetic match verified. Control rights granted. Any interference will be treated as hostile action. Then the Firaxi commander made a fatal mistake. He opened fire. The bolt never touched Elias. Instead, the armor responded faster than light. A ripple of force pulsed out in a perfect sphere, disabling weapons, melting the Drul's energy cannons, and flinging soldiers to the ground. When the smoke cleared, Elias stood untouched in the center. He hadn't moved. But everyone else had been thrown to their knees. "I didn't want this," he said, looking around. "But if you keep pushing..." The armor pulsed again, louder this time. Incoming dimensional rift. Coordinates: March 4th, 47. Sector Theta Black. Contact imminent. A warning. And a beginning. Hours later, Elias stood in the command chamber of the Alliance High Nexus, the armor now pulsing with barely contained power. Leaders of every major alien species stared at him through holographic projections. Some were furious. Others terrified. "You brought death to us all," hissed the Elvari ambassador. "You don't understand," Elias snapped. "I didn't bring anything. I uncovered what you all buried." "The armor is a weapon of annihilation," shouted another. "Humans nearly tore the fabric of space with it." "Because we were the only ones who could fight what's coming." Elias slammed a fist against the table. "The Unnamed are returning. And if you think I'm your biggest problem, you're already dead." The room fell silent. Then, quietly, one voice whispered, "Then we need to prepare." On a distant moon, something massive emerged from a black rift. It had no shape, no eyes, just shifting limbs of smoke and bone and starlight. It let out a soundless scream that cracked the moon's surface. The first Unnamed had arrived. And it was hungry. The first Unnamed horror struck a border colony of the Firaxi Empire. By the time Alliance warships arrived, the planet was silent. Not destroyed. Emptied. No bodies, no debris. Just shadows scorched into walls, systems fried from within, and an eerie low-frequency hum that made even machines feel uneasy. Elias watched the sensor feeds from orbit, armor glowing softly around him. He didn't flinch. The armor's voice echoed in his mind. "This is a standard Pattern 1 incursion. Entity class: World Eater. Combat solution: Warden Protocol. Engage immediately." "Alone?" he asked. "Alone?" He dropped from the orbiting ship like a meteor. No heat shielding, no boosters, just raw velocity. At terminal speed, the armor shifted, formed an energy barrier that cushioned his impact. He slammed into the dead planet's surface with enough force to crater metal. And then, he stood. The Unnamed saw him. It reacted instantly, limbs of shadow reaching out, tendrils of distortion lashing toward him, screaming with every star it had consumed. Elias didn't blink. The armor lit up. From his back unfolded wings of hard light. His hands formed twin plasma blades, humming with history. Ancient runes spun around his legs, amplifying his speed. Every movement was smooth, like the suit had been made for him since birth. He charged. The fight wasn't a battle, It was a statement. To the galaxy. To the unnamed. To history. Humanity had returned. Back on the Nexus, the Council watched the battle broadcast in stunned silence. "What is he?" someone whispered. "He's not a man," said the Drool warlord. "He's a weapon." But others saw something different. They saw hope. Elias stood in the wreckage of the creature, chest rising slowly. Black ash floated around him. The planet moaned beneath his feet. And then the armor spoke again. Signal flare transmitted. "Other units will awaken." "What units?" he asked. The suit responded. "The other wardens. They're waiting." In the days that followed, Elias became a living legend. He moved across the galaxy like a storm, following whispers in deep space, responding to flare signatures only he could see. On each dead world, he found traces of old Terran colonies thought to be lost, vaults buried under centuries of silence, bunkers lined with dormant tech, and, most astonishing of all, *** cryogenic survivors. ***. Not many. A few hundred at most. But they were human. And like Elias, the armor responded to them. Some received gauntlets. Others, partial suits. The galaxy watched as the impossible unfolded. The wardens were returning. And every unnamed that dared approach was burned into stardust. Now the Council no longer feared Elias. They needed him. "He's not our enemy," said the Ulvari representative. "He's our last line of defense." "But what happens," someone asked, "when the war is over? What if humans can't be controlled?" The question hung heavy in the room. Because deep in the shadows, not all feared the unnamed more than they feared Earth's children. They came like a storm. Dozens, no hundreds, of unnamed entities poured into the galaxy through collapsing dimensional tiers. Worlds fell silent. Stars dimmed. Communications failed. Ancient bastions crumbled. Entire fleets vanished without a trace. But as the darkness spread, so did the light. Across dozens of systems, Terran wardens awakened. The armor had been waiting. Each warden had been chosen, not just by blood, but by something deeper. Spirit. Will. Fire. Elias Rourke, the first warden, stood at the heart of them. Not a general. A symbol. He addressed the United Council through a transmission that echoed across the stars. "We didn't start this war. We didn't ask for it. But we're the only ones who can end it. The unnamed destroyed our ancestors, scattered our people, erased our history. But you forgot something. We remembered what it means to fight back. We remember how to win." The final battle happened in the ruined belt of Xanthius, where 3 black rifts twisted reality and time. A massive unnamed construct, larger than moons, anchored the invasion. They called it the Maw Engine. It wasn't a ship. It was a devourer. A factory. A living thing powered by every soul it consumed. Elias led the charge. A dozen Warden-class humans followed him, each glowing with ancient armor, their own colors, shapes, and weapons. Some had wings. Some, claws. One wielded a cannon that folded gravity. Another moved faster than light itself. They weren't just warriors. They were myths reborn. As they clashed with the Maw Engine's tendrils and storm-spawned horrors, the galaxy watched, every race, every leader, every child with a screen. And they saw what no alien could ever become. A human embracing chaos. A species forged in death, yet unafraid of it. A force built to conquer the unconquerable. Elias breached the core of the Maw Engine. Inside, time fractured. Visions of Earth burning. Of the old war. Of the last Terran king screaming into a void that no longer listened. But Elias walked through it, his mind focused. And at the center of the construct, he found the truth. The unnamed weren't invincible. They fed on fear. On memory. On surrender. But Elias carried none of that. He carried defiance. He placed his hand on the core. "You took our stars," he whispered. "Now we take them back." The suit flared. Every rune lit up. And then, detonation. The Maw Engine collapsed inward. The rift closed. The others began to flicker. Across the galaxy, The unnamed screamed as the link between them shattered. The war wasn't over. But it had changed. Humanity was no longer a memory. It was a rising tide. Later, when the galaxy met in peace talks, the first words of the Terran envoy silenced the room. "We don't come to conquer. But we'll never kneel again." And across Caraxes 3, on a monument raised where the armor was first found, they carved a new phrase. No alien could wear it, until a human returned.